Did Ryan Reynolds ditch Blake Lively at the premiere of Another Simple Favor to save his own career?
Strangers describe me as
extremely disloyal.
Blake Lively's world is crumbling fast, and Ryan Reynolds just jumped ship to save himself. The disaster she created has spiraled so out of control that it's dragging everyone down with her.
That's so gross and weird and manipulative, even if it's true.
Ryan knew if he stuck around any longer, his career would be the next casualty in Blake's Hollywood downfall.
Ryan and Blake both now realize if their careers are to survive, they cannot be involved in the same projects because everything will be heavily scrutinized.
So where the hell was Ryan Reynolds? That's the question everybody was asking when Blake Lively walked that red carpet all by herself, fake smiling through the cameras like everything was fine. Well, nothing is fine. The Another Simple Favor premiere was supposed to be her big moment, but instead, all anyone could talk about was the giant Ryan Reynolds-shaped hole next to her.
Now, insiders are spilling on the real reason why Ryan Reynolds left Blake Lively alone on the red carpet amid the Anna Kendrick beef, and it's all about money.
Not a single hand-holding photo, no couple poses, nothing. And don't tell me he was busy, because this man has time to buy soccer teams and post unhinged Instagram captions, but suddenly he's too swamped to support his wife? Please.
It sounded awful, like to a point like, I'm like, damn.
And of course, the media went into full meltdown mode. Was this a calculated PR move? Or was this a full-blown relationship crisis? Turns out, it's both. Because according to a Daily Mail insider, Ryan and Blake already knew they couldn't keep showing up together if they wanted to save their careers. Apparently, their SNL appearance was a test to see how people would react to them together, and let's just say the results were uglier than Blake's legal strategy.
Why did Ryan Reynolds not show up? I mean, I'm not entirely surprised that he didn't show up, to be perfectly honest, because this was Blake's contractually obligated appearance. She had to be there, guys.
Remember that SNL 50th anniversary special? You know, where Ryan Reynolds was trying to just sit there, minding his own business, but then Amy Poehler had to hit him with, "Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?" And his immediate response was, "Why? What have you heard?" That wasn't just a joke, people.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds. Hey, hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
That was a man fighting for his life. That wasn't humor. That was pure, unfiltered panic. Because he already knew what was coming. The booze, the backlash, the side eyes, and oh boy, did they get it.
They did this publicity stunt last night where they went on SNL and Ryan Reynolds made this silly joke, you know, this really silly joke.
February 2024. This was the moment everything shifted. Ryan and Blake show up to SNL, probably hoping people would magically forget the absolute dumpster fire of a lawsuit she threw at Justin Baldoni in December 2023. But nope. Audiences weren't buying the power couple act anymore. You had people cheering, probably their PR team, but you also had boos, awkward tension, and fans looking like they just saw their childhood heroes ruin their legacy in real time.
That wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character.
And guess who was absolutely livid after that? Blake. Insiders say she was furious because Ryan wasn't playing along with her "I'm the victim" narrative. He was too chill, too casual, not giving that stand by your woman energy that she was banking on.
She seems like a bully. She was such a high-maintenance diva bully brat.
Because let's be real, she needed him to look like the supportive husband defending her honor. But instead, he looked like a man who was just waiting for this nightmare to be over. The problem? Blake can't have that. She needs control. She needs Ryan to be the perfect husband who stands beside her in public like a prop, not a real person with his own reputation to protect.
Blake had to show up for this. I'm sure she was contractually obligated to be there. And both of them, Anna and Blake, and I'm sure neither of them really wanted to be there, to be fair. But why wasn't Ryan there? I'm not surprised he wasn't there. I gotta be honest. He doesn't have to be there at every junket. Now,
and apparently, after that night, she went full damage control mode. Because you know what she allegedly told her friends? that Ryan wasn't taking her lawsuit seriously, as if it's his fault that she's out here making the worst legal decisions known to mankind. Oh, Ryan, how dare you not act like your entire career depends on my ridiculous accusations? How dare you not be as emotionally unstable as me? The nerve.
I think they do need to do their separate appearances if they need to do them. Ryan, really, it's about protecting their separate incomes, the source explained. Blake is unsure about the future of her career because of the backlash she has received. She does not want to have a family with no income, and she knows that Ryan's career has so far survived the fallout.
But here's where things get really interesting. After the SNL disaster, Blake needed to fix her image. And what's the best way to do that? A red carpet appearance. A chance to look unbothered, successful, thriving. But there was one problem: Ryan Reynolds. She could not risk another public embarrassment like SNL, so what does she do?
I didn't like him. Just gonna be straight with you, I didn't fucking like him. So they're both equally repulsive.
She ditches him before he can ditch her. Because if he had shown up and acted even a little off, people would have seen through her act immediately. So instead, she shows up alone, hoping people will just assume Ryan is busy instead of thinking, oh wow, maybe he just doesn't want to be here.
It's like, it's kind of, I wasn't that surprised that Ryan wasn't there. It wasn't his movie. It was weird that Ryan was there and it ends with us. If he shows up to every one of her movies that has nothing to do with, I think it would be worse reaction. I do.
And honestly, that's exactly what Ryan wanted. Because according to Daily Mail, Ryan was already reevaluating his public association with Blake after seeing how bad this entire mess was for his image.
So I can't fault him for not showing up. The fact that he's responding is interesting. It shows they're paying attention and they're unnerved.
Think about it. This is Ryan freaking Reynolds, the guy who built his entire career on being funny, likable, and unproblematic. A family-friendly Hollywood darling who could literally do no wrong. And now?
No one knew who he was beforehand. Everyone knows who he is now. If he is a smart sociopath, he'll work that to his advantage.
He's attached to a scandal that's getting uglier by the second. Blake's out here burning Hollywood bridges, throwing accusations left and right, and Ryan is just sitting there like, yeah, I'd like to not have my career ruined by association, thanks.
And she knows that Ryan's career has so far survived the fallout. I would agree with that. It has. He's still going to be Deadpool. He's not going to lose gigs. I do think Blake will have a tougher time getting gigs.
And let's not forget the biggest factor here, money. Because if there's one thing Ryan Reynolds knows how to do, it's protect his bank account. He's got businesses, endorsements, and Deadpool 3 set to drop in July. This man is a walking financial empire, and he's not about to let Blake's reckless PR disaster tank his earnings.
He's one of those guys, so they are absolute bullies.
Meanwhile, Blake, she's freaking out because she knows her career isn't nearly as stable as Ryan's. Sources say she's terrified that if this lawsuit keeps spiraling, she'll be blacklisted from Hollywood completely. And let's be real. She's not exactly an A-list box office draw anymore. Her entire brand has been built on being America's sweetheart. And once that's gone, what does she have left? That's why insiders claim she's been pressuring Ryan to publicly support her, to stand by her side and show Hollywood that she still has power.
I do think Blake will have a tougher time getting gigs, not because of a retaliation campaign, but because of her demanding authorship. Go make your own movies, Blake. Go make your own movie. You have the funds, the support, apparently. You have Hollywood friends who have your back, right?
But Ryan, he's not falling for it, because he's already seen what happens to people who stick too close to Blake when things go south. Look at Justin Baldoni. He went from respected filmmaker to public enemy #1 overnight just because he dared to not bow down to her ridiculous demands. And Ryan's smart. He knows better than to let Blake drag him down with her.
I know what Blake's done to Justin is worse, but we've got such tunnel vision on bad, good, bad.
So at this point, the premiere snub makes total sense. Ryan isn't just skipping one event. He's strategically backing away from this entire train wreck before it gets worse. And the best part? Blake knows it. That's why she's trying to control the narrative. Why she's out here playing the independent, strong woman act, pretending she doesn't need Ryan, when in reality, she needs him more than ever. Because the truth is blindingly obvious. Ryan Reynolds didn't just miss this premiere. He saw what was coming and he ran.
Now, I would argue even their solo projects are going to be scrutinized. You guys clearly aren't backing down. You're frustrated with them, and I hear why. I am too. If they really played the power moves that they did and lied.
Blake Lively really thought she had this one in the bag, didn't she? She came out swinging, filed that sexual harassment lawsuit against Justin Baldoni in December 2023, and expected Hollywood to just blindly believe her because, well, she's Blake Lively. She probably thought the second she screamed "Me Too," the industry would throw Baldoni into the Hollywood abyss, and she'd waltz away looking like some fearless feminist icon.
The issue is, yeah, Blake Lively's done awful things to Justin and needs to pay the price in court. We'll find it out.
But here's the problem. She didn't expect Baldoni to fight back. And not just fight back. He came at her with a $400 million countersuit, completely shattering her entire narrative in one move. This wasn't just some petty lawsuit. This was one of the biggest celebrity legal battles of the decade.
She really wanted her vision to be included in this, okay?
And then things got even worse for Blake. In February 2024, Baldoni turned around and filed a $250 million libel lawsuit against the New York Times, accusing them of running a pre-planned hit piece against him before Blake even made her accusations public. Yes, before. That means the NYT article wasn't just reporting the story, it was part of the plan. Blake was out here playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. And somehow, she still lost.
This person is not an honest broker. I believe her less than ever. I actually disbelieve her fully now.
The more you dig into this case, the more it starts to look less like a real legal battle and more like a rejected episode of Gossip Girl. Because now, we have a full-blown cheating scandal on our hands. Blake Lively, Hollywood's golden girl, the one who built her entire career on playing the sweet, classy, perfect wife, turns out she was the one chasing after Justin Baldoni this entire time. And when I say chasing, I mean desperately throwing herself at him, sending flirty messages, and making comments so embarrassing you'd think they were written by a 14-year-old fangirl.
She's completely flirtatious with him.
Blake actually told Justin to try it pregnant while commenting on his workout videos. What does that even mean? Who says that? This woman was so deep in her delusions, she actually thought she could get away with this. And let's not forget, Justin is a married man. This wasn't just a little on-set chemistry. This was a full-blown obsession. And when Baldoni shut her down, she spiraled. Instead of accepting rejection like a normal human being, she flipped the entire script and painted herself as the victim.
And no amount of I'm sorry's will ever undo it. Hurt people hurt people.
But the best part? Justin publicly denied everything. He called her behavior unprofessional, and witnesses backed him up, claiming that Blake was the one pushing for intimate scenes, Blake was the one rewriting scripts to make things steamier, Blake was the one making weird flirty comments. And then, when none of it worked, she went nuclear and accused Baldoni of misconduct. This woman straight up turned a failed crush into a full-blown legal war.
She laughs and says, oh, did you get beard on me? She doesn't say, oh my God, you nuzzled me and said that I smell good. This is what she's done throughout.
And where was Ryan during all of this? Standing by his wife, defending her, probably thinking she was the innocent victim. Until he wasn't. Because when the receipts started dropping, Ryan reportedly felt completely humiliated. Imagine being him, standing in the middle of this PR disaster, thinking you're fighting for your wife's honor, only to realize she was the one causing all the problems. But somehow, Blake still wasn't done embarrassing herself, because when the lawsuit started crumbling, she pulled her most desperate stunt yet. She tried to frame Baldoni with a fake voicemail.
I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have, because the truth should be out there. What does she have to fear if she's telling the truth?
Yes, a fake voicemail. A voicemail suddenly surfaced where Baldoni was supposedly apologizing for making Blake uncomfortable. The media ran with it. Blake's legal team tried to use it as evidence that she was telling the truth. But here's the problem. It was bullshit.
She alleges that she's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd.
Tech experts immediately noticed something was off. The metadata didn't match. The pacing of the voicemail sounded robotic. The tone was inconsistent. Some of the words even sounded choppy, stitched together, like it had been edited from different conversations. And within days, Hollywood legal experts were openly questioning whether this was an AI deepfake.
She wants us to believe this is actionable harassment, what we just witnessed there. You tell me whether that's what that looks like to you.
Do you understand how desperate you have to be to potentially commit evidence tampering in a $650 million lawsuit? If this is proven, Blake isn't just dealing with a defamation lawsuit anymore. She could be facing actual criminal charges for fraud.
She, time and time again, she accuses him of doing something, which then when you hear the full context, is an absolute nothing burger.
And here's where things get even funnier. Ryan Reynolds reportedly lost his mind when he found out about the voicemail. Insiders say he was shaken and furious, because at this point, he's realizing he's been lied to just as much as the rest of us. Imagine being Ryan, risking your own reputation to defend your wife, only to wake up one day and realize she's been playing you too.
I'm just shocked at how many lies were told, okay?
And let's talk about the bigger picture here, because this isn't just about one scandal. This is about the absolute collapse of Blake Lively's entire career. She spent years crafting this perfect Hollywood image, convincing everyone that she was wholesome, elegant, untouchable. And in just a few months, she destroyed everything.
Blake Lively completely exposes herself.
She tried to ruin a man's life just because he didn't want her. She tried to manipulate the media to control the narrative. She faked evidence to cover her tracks. And now, she's watching her entire career go up in flames.
So in my opinion, Justin was wrong. And the power was with Blake.
Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is walking away from this stronger than ever. He fought back. He exposed the lies. He held his ground. And now, Hollywood is actually rallying behind him. Studios that once ghosted him are now reaching out. Industry insiders are calling him the real victim. Blake tried to destroy him, and instead, she gave him a comeback story.
Blake got everything she wanted. On that set, she got everything she wanted. They gave every demand. And then she still kept getting more and more and more and more and more and more. So who had the power on that set? Justin, her boss, or Blake Lively, the A-star talent who they needed to finish the movie?
And Ryan? At this point, he's just trying to survive the fallout. Because now, his entire brand is at risk too. If he helped blacklist Baldoni, if he used his influence to push false allegations, he could be facing serious legal repercussions too. And knowing Ryan, he's probably already planning his escape route. Because one thing is clear, the Blake Lively train wreck is far from over, and he does not want to go down with her.
Well, Ryan Reynolds on the Enneagram is a psycho. That's what he is. He's just a psycho. His number is psycho.
At this point, Blake Lively's downward spiral is moving at warp speed, but apparently, she decided she hadn't embarrassed herself enough. So what does she do? She plans an ambush, because apparently manipulating the media, fabricating evidence, and torpedoing her own career wasn't quite enough. She had to drag Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds into her mess even deeper.
Just when people thought Justin Baldoni was finally the bad guy, Blake Lively proved she will always be the bad guy. Justin Baldoni just released the piece of the puzzle that will destroy Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Colleen Hoover, Taylor Swift, the New York Times.
February 2024. Reports start flying that Blake invited Justin Baldoni to her penthouse, telling him it was for some script discussions. Because apparently, she was still clinging to the delusion that she could strong-arm him into doing whatever she wanted. But Baldoni walked into that penthouse only to find out he had been set up. Because who was already there? Ryan Reynolds and Taylor freaking Swift.
I let go of so much, and I gave it to him.
Can you imagine the absolute audacity of this woman? She knew Baldoni wanted nothing to do with her ridiculous rewrites. She knew he had already shut her down 1,000,000 times, but she still thought, you know what? If I get Ryan and Taylor to gang up on him, maybe he'll finally cave. That's some next-level desperation.
When Ms. Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, "I'm not even attracted to you."
Insiders claim this wasn't just some casual meeting. This was a calculated power move. Blake wanted Baldoni cornered, wanted him outnumbered, and she thought that if she sat him down in front of Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds, two of the biggest names in Hollywood, he would feel pressured into accepting her rewritten script. Because this is what Blake always does. She doesn't get her way, so she tries to bully people into submission.
What the heck, dude? Get your ego in check. Get your ego in check. All you actors, get your egos in check. And yeah, I'm gonna call out actors who have way too big of an ego.
But guess what? It backfired spectacularly, because Ryan Reynolds finally snapped. This was his breaking point. After months of watching Blake self-destruct, drag him into lawsuits, and turn Hollywood against herself, he suddenly realized exactly what was happening. He wasn't just a supportive husband in a tough time, he was a pawn. Blake had been using him this entire time as a weapon in her personal war against Baldoni, and he had finally had enough.
A man being fully castrated by a woman who is using toxic feminism to get what she wants, right?
In fact, after this whole disaster, Taylor has not been seen publicly with Blake once. No more cute Instagram posts, no more dinner outings, nothing. She distanced herself immediately because she knew exactly what everyone else was realizing. Blake Lively was no longer a power player, she was a liability.
If they really played the power moves that they did and lied, shame on them, of course.
And once Taylor Swift is out, you know Hollywood is following close behind. Because suddenly, everyone was backing away from Blake like she was a burning building. Hollywood executives stopped taking her calls. Directors didn't want to touch her, and her brand deals, oh, they started disappearing too. First, there was L'Oreal, one of Blake's biggest endorsement deals. Insiders say the brand is re-evaluating their relationship with her because the last thing they need is their golden girl being associated with fake harassment claims. Then there's Chanel, one of the most powerful brands in fashion. And guess what? They're allegedly having second thoughts about keeping her around too. Because when your brand is built on elegance and class, the last thing you need is a walking scandal representing you.
Wasn't in the best place. I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to recover or time to heal.
But let's talk about the biggest hit of all, her film career. Because the second Hollywood smells weakness, they move on. And Blake, she's looking real weak right now. Studios are hesitant to hire her, not because of some evil retaliation campaign, but because she is simply not worth the risk. Directors don't want someone who will rewrite their scripts, sabotage co-stars, and turn every production into a lawsuit waiting to happen. And here's the ultimate irony. While Blake is out here watching her career burn to the ground, Justin Baldoni is having a career resurgence. Yep, the same guy she tried to destroy is now being embraced by Hollywood. Directors who once avoided him are now calling him back because guess what? He actually has talent. And now, he also has a redemption story. The industry is rallying behind him, not because they love him, but because they hate being manipulated. And the second Blake's lies started falling apart, Hollywood immediately switched sides. And let's just take a moment to appreciate the pure karma of it all. Blake tried to take down a man just because he rejected her. She tried to manipulate the media, rewrite history, fake evidence, and ruin someone's life. And in the end, she ruined herself. Her career is collapsing. Her friendships are disappearing. Hollywood wants nothing to do with her. And Ryan? He's finally realizing the truth. That the real betrayal didn't come from Justin Baldoni. It came from the woman he married.